Good morning and happy weekend to Nigerians.
All right, I also have Mr. Taiwo Ismail. Mr. Taiwo Ismail is an economist, and he's right here with me in the studio this morning. Good morning, Mr. Taiwo.
Yeah, good morning, dear listeners.
All right, this morning we'll be talking about something very important and very crucial at this point in time. Recently, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and some members of his cabinet traveled down to China, and then many Nigerians have been saying a lot, saying at this point, is this should this be the next thing for the president to do, traveling to China when we have some internal problems and internal crisis to sort at this time? But then the president came on board yesterday through his spokesperson to say some few things, and then I will just be reading out what the spokesperson of the president said yesterday, saying that the president visit, he's saying that President Bola Tinubu's visit to Beijing, China, was ready to take. He said President Bola Tinubu was ready to take some hard decisions to move the nation forward. Even as also said that it is not always easy for a leader to have a national consciousness on issues. According to members of the Nigerians in diaspora, addressing members rather of Nigerians in diaspora organization in China, the Nigerian community at the China World Hotel, President Tinubu emphasized his commitment to strengthening cooperation in areas such as infrastructure, trade, finance, energy, the green economy, and mining. He highlighted the significance of investments in China's economy and assured the audience that Nigeria's Bank of Industry is ready to collaborate with them to tap into opportunities back home. The president, in a statement issued by the spokesperson Adrian Galilei, stated that one key takeaway from his visit to China is the commitment to replicate China's infrastructure back home. According to the statement, the president noted that while it's not always easy for a leader to have a national consensus on issues, he is ready to take the hard decisions to move the nation forward. Let me start with you, Professor Wale Akiyemi. President is saying he's ready to take the hard decision to move the country forward. What's your take on that?
Thank you very much, Tayo. Once again, good morning to our audience. I believe Mr. President is already taking those hard decisions, and Nigerians can feel the impact of them across all sectors of the economy. The absolute truth of the matter is that when you have a situation like this, that the one we have in Nigeria, where we have a parlous economy, it has not taken just one day to get us to this state. And of course, it's not going to be by the any presidential fiat to remove the problems that has been created over many decades. But be that as it may, government must balance things. Everything must be done in the best interest of Nigerians and of the nation of Nigeria. It will appear that government is satisfying more all the Bretton Woods institutions, namely the World Bank, the IMF, and some of the policies that we now have that has put Nigeria economy on a kind of stranglehold. Is as a result of some of these concessions that they have given to international money lenders. And I believe that it's one of the reasons why we have to face China. When we get to the point, I will analyze it further. Because whether you like it or not, China is call it the emerging world power. It's seriously competing with Europe and the United States of America. And if you look at it, what they are doing, what they are achieving in their own country, because of population, because of a very effective leadership, because of a good national orientation, they are achieving a whole lot for themselves. And whether we like it or not, Nigeria is greatly indebted to China. And the president of the visit of Mr. President to China at this particular moment is very strategic. I believe one of the things that he will negotiate will be maybe how we will repackage those loans that you have taken from China. Maybe some concessions. Maybe they can give us some concessions. I mean, ex-president Segun Obasanjo did the same thing, and Nigeria got some leeway when we had this kind of indebtedness during his own time. So I believe this will be one of the things that, and I believe also that some of the loans that Nigerians will be taking henceforth will be tied to specific projects, so that we cut the possibility for graft and corruption. Because when you have a loan that is tied to a specific project, the people, your lenders, will make sure that that loan is being spent for what the money is released for. Right now, if you look at the profile, our debt profile is not commensurate with available infrastructural development in Nigeria. And you're going to ask yourself, what has this loan gone for? Because it is this indebtedness that is putting so much weight on Nigerians. Whether you like it or not, the money that Nigeria is owing now is something that has gone even into future generations. After my own generation, your generation, and even the generation that is coming will be affected by the burden of this. So let me just stop at that for now.
All right, sir. Let me take Mr. Taiwo Ismail's thoughts on that. The president said he's ready to take some hard decisions at this time, and Nigerians are asking, are the hard decisions not being taken already?
Yeah, good morning, dear listeners. I appreciate the presenter for having me today again. In response to the question that you raised, we can feel it. Everybody is feeling it that the president is taking hard decisions, and the key fact on that is that globally governance is all about welfareism. So if you are taking decisions that people are now raising eyebrows, that you see people crying here and there, I believe a serious governance, we always take a look at the adverse effect and then find a lasting solution to remedy the problem. But oftentimes we haven't seen drastic decisions being made by the successive government that we have been having in this country. So when they take decisions, so they will not look at the adverse effect, and they will go and sleep. And I just want to say that the hard decision is taking its toll on the people, and people are crying. And as you can see, the country is not in a good shape currently. So if you are taking hard decisions, I think you need to go back to the drawing board. So am I taking decisions to affect the citizenry, or I'm taking decisions to ensure that the economy is put in the right perspective? So on the visitation to China, I just want to say this. There is no problem in that. Successive governments have been doing that, and President Tinubu is not going to be an exception. But the question that always comes to a sensible mind is the fact that all these visits that they have been going here and there. So what has been the effect? You ask yourself that. We haven't seen the effect oftentimes, and I tend to ask that some of these countries that they go to, how did they get to where they are? You know, they look at the drawing board, and they thought excessively that they needed to develop their country by themselves. But we tend to go to some of these countries here and there, but we are not looking at how they develop. China, for instance, how did China get to the present stage? At the time, China shut down its economy, that it didn't want to go to anywhere, that we have to go back to drawing board.
Is that not part of the hard decision the president is taking too at this time? Trying to take some very serious decisions, saying that we need to be serious at this time and make sure we bring ourselves out of the mess we found ourselves already.
But the question that I've always been asking is that if you are taking, you see, policy everywhere, policy has positive effect and negative effect. But you know, there are some things that you need to put in place. When China started to develop, you know, they put something in place. At the time, German Mao, he said that too, there cannot be meaningful reconstruction without construction. That is, all the engineers, you know, the artisans, we need to train them. You know, they need to look at the drawing board and see how we can develop ourselves domestically. But here, you know, they have been reeling out policies on policies. You will now ask the question that those policies that they have been reeling out, have they not referred them back? The subsidy removal, we all know, is only economic illiterate that we say subsidy has not been reversed back.
All right, Mr. Taiwo Ismail, let me cut you short a little bit for a moment, and let's see. Many people are asking the question, what exactly is the president doing in China? And let's see some of the few things that the president has gone to do in China. President Bola Tinubu and the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, on Tuesday in Beijing, China, announced the elevation of Nigeria-China ties to that of a comprehensive strategic partnership. The leaders also agreed to build a high-level Nigeria-China community with a shared future. During the meeting, both presidents witnessed the signing of several memorandum of understanding on various areas of mutual interest, including those of cooperation plan between Nigeria and China on jointly promoting the Belt and Road Initiative. They also witnessed the memorandum of understanding signed on cooperation in the peaceful application of nuclear energy and strengthening cooperation on human resource development under the Global Development Initiative. And then others include an MOU on media exchange and cooperation, as well as an MOU between China Media Group and the Nigerian Television Authority. There were also the outcome of talks between the two leaders during the presidential official visit to China. According to a statement by Adjorin Galile, again, the special advisor to the president on media, he said President Tinubu's visit precedes his participation in the 2024 summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. The forum was held during the week. It was between September 4 to September 6. That's during this past week, this week that is winding off already. But then let us also listen to the Minister of Finance. He has something to say as regards President visits to China and some of the things they've been able to achieve by the visits of Mr. President to China. Let's take a listen to Mr. Wale Edun at this time.
Important emphasis on foreign direct investment from China to Nigeria. For example, the Lekki port is actually a foreign direct investment by a Chinese company. They were also participated in the construction of the port, but also the financing on an equity basis. And that's what we need to see more of. Equity financing by domestic investors, by foreign investors. That's the whole point of Mr. President's agenda of stabilizing the Nigerian economy so that investors can come in, help it grow, create jobs, and of course, reduce poverty, which is the overall goal of macro economic policy and development as a whole. And that's something that President Xi Jinping and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu were clear on, that their ultimate goal is to develop the economies and reduce poverty. So that was specifically the part of of these engagements. That was a state visit, and of course were very warmly received by the president of the People's Republic of China, and indeed his own. In this.
All right, that was Mr. Wale Edun, the Minister for Finance there. Speaking on the major reason why the president went to China, Professor Wole Akinyemi, you listened to the Minister for Finance there speaking on the reason why Nigeria had to go to China at this point, saying economic development is key. And they needed that visit at this point in time to sign some MOUs and then make sure that they rejigger the Nigerian economy. What's your take on this?
When China was building that country, what they did was to shut their doors and look inwards. And in nation building, the first input and the most important input is human capacity development. Yes, they shut their door, but they sent their very brilliant minds to some of the finest institutions around the world. The Stanfords of this world, the Cornell Universities of this world, the Oxford Universities of this world, the Harvard Universities of this world. And it is those people who now came back adequately equipped with the finest of Western civilization and Western technology that came home now to combine it with the homegrown technology and discipline of the Chinese people. And the result of it is what we are seeing right now. Now, can you now look at that kind of strategic national development and compare it with what Nigeria is trying to do? Definitely, it's not. Because what Nigeria is trying to do, and I'm going to break it down, and I'm sure the economists, with us here, will be able to understand what I'm talking about. Okay. We are trying to sell our country if you are not careful. Because when you are talking about equity investment, what you are saying, to break it down to language of the ordinary person, is that the person that is bringing in the money is also the one that is providing the technology, and it's also the one that is awarded the contract. So it's like the money you are taking from him with one hand, you are giving it to him with the other. And at the end of the day, you will sign a memorandum of understanding. If it is 50 years that they said they will be able to get their money back, because it's built and transfer kind of arrangement, then it means that they are going. Now you cannot have imagine that happening in our oil sector, in our transport sector, in our shipping sector, the ports and the rest of it. Then it means that you have practically sold your nation. And don't forget that Nigeria holds a very, very strategic position in Africa. So if China is saying that yes, you are moving a relationship, it's not going to be ordinary bilateral relationship, but it's not going to be what is that term you use again now? Cooperation. That, mutual
cooperation between the
two countries and the rest of it. Is it a win-win thing? China definitely is more positioned to gain from that kind of relationship with Nigeria.
Mr. Taiwo Ismail, is it a win-win thing, just like Professor Wole Akinyemi asked, from the economics perspective?
Yes, I will allude to the fact that China is positioning itself in order to gain more in this kind of arrangement.
You know, many have argued that China is trying to be a world power too. And then, as a result of these, they are trying to probably enter into Africa too, to get to get some allies. And then, are you seeing things from this angle too?
Yes, definitely. You discover the fact that when you look at the GDP now, we have two major GDP that are progressing well in the global economy. Okay. United States of America and then the China. But the issue is that when you purchasing power parity between China and then US, when you compare the two, so things are much cheaper in China than US. That's why US is doing everything possible to ensure that China is being dragged down. But China, in its own wisdom, understand the fact that the only thing it can do is to just go to the African and see how, in Africa now we are looking for how we are going to survive at all costs. And China will come to you and then offer you cheapest things, and if care is not taken, like Prof said, you just sign agreement. Just look at what happened recently when the jet of the Nigerian president was seized. So those are the part of the things that are dragging the African backward, because of the fact that China wants to launch itself to the global world by taking the position of the United States. So, but the only issue I have is that, like I said, I do not have problem in going to China, but the issue is that, what are the things that you are going there for? If you are saying that you want foreign direct investment, have you put policy in place to attract investors? Look at all the investors that we have, the little we have, they are going outside the country. You look at the policies that you are reeling out every day. So all those policies are not attracting investors. Even the local investors now that we have, they are even crying that if care is not taken, they will shut down their companies. So you are saying you are going somewhere to attract investors to look for foreign direct investment, but within your corridor, you are not putting things in the proper perspective to ensure that those investors will come. Now, in recent time, they are also seeking for $2.5 billion loan from World Bank. Meanwhile, the current debt between Nigeria and China is hovering around $5 billion, and you are also seeking for $2.5 billion from the World Bank. So if care is not taken, we will just find ourselves in debt trap, because China over time, what they do is that they will offer you cheapest thing, but underneath, if care is not taken, you just fall into debt trap. So, but I will advise the government that they need to take a look at their domestic economy. We have a lot of things that can launch us to the global world. But
then we need the assistance of some developed country.
Yes, we need the assistance of some developed countries, but we need to apply wisdom. Not that we will go there, to seek for loan. Even all the deficit, if you look at it very well, when you look at the major reason why he went for this visit, after this, maybe in a couple of days, we get to understand the fact that some of these, they come in a very positive way, like, oh, we go there to attract investors, to do this, to do that. But after March, you discover that they only go there to seek for loan. In a couple of days, you see some agreements that they must have signed on how to seek loan again.
Is it bad for us
No.
to get loans from them?
You see, nobody can develop without seeking for loan. But what we are saying is that what you have locally, have you used it judiciously? You understand? We have a lot of resources that can catapult our country into limelight. But our leaders, they embezzle the funds. The allocations that has been churned out every day. You discover that the allocation is not being used for the purpose it's meant for. So why are you now going to other countries when you know that within your locality you have not put things in proper perspective? Just in recent time, we heard of how billions upon billions were spent on purchase of vehicles for the National Assembly members in a country that is in their need of shock absorber. People are crying heavily, and you are still harnessing funds on some few set of people in order to cater for their own largesse. So what I'm saying is that within our locality, what have we done in order to say that the country is being projected in the right perspective? No. But we go there, seeking for loans, talking about foreign direct investors, that all the economy indices are not even attracting foreign direct investors. It's like you are working in opposite direction.
Let me take Professor Wole Akinyemi's thoughts on that. Mr. Taiwo I noted something very important, saying that you've not fixed your own house, but then you are bringing in visitors to come work in your house. Are we not supposed to do the needful before we start inviting investors to come and invest in our country?
There is something that is called national orientation. It's very, very powerful in repositioning China to becoming a potential world power. The China under Chairman Mao is not the same China under
Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping. The China under Xi Jinping is a capitalist nation. China under Mao was a communist nation. So, and the transition is a gradual process. Even if you look at the way the average Chinese dresses now, it dresses like, most of them, they dresses corporately. You see them in suit. You will think that they all work in the boardrooms and everything. And for those of them that are in the technical sector, they dress appropriately. So it's a gradual process. So what they have done is a kind of a cultural synergy, if I can call it, between the Western and the Eastern. So they've taken the finest of the two and they have blended it with their own culture of hard work to take China to where it is now. For example, we have been subsidizing corruption in Nigeria for such a very long time. You don't find that in China. You can get executed for corrupting yourself in China. It's their culture, and it's not only in China, it's also in Japan. And if you look at nations that have really jump-started their economy and have grown their nation to the very viable status where we have now, you find that one of the first things they fight is corruption. Even the Dubai we are talking about, where that is being ruled more or less by a family, they have fought corruption so much, and that is why people are able to, majority of people are able to benefit from what nature has endowed them with. But the opposite is what we have here in Nigeria. Look at all the panels that have been set up to probe people. You will just hear it. There will be some media, some media hype and the rest of it. Naturally, while the whole thing will be swept under the carpet. Is Emefiele the only person that is corrupt in Nigeria? Let us be very honest with ourselves. What about the people that stole pension fund? What about all those people that did all those shenanigans that instead of money being remitted to the central bank, it was remitted to the NNPC for such a very, very long time, and NNPC account was not audited? What has anybody done about all of those ones? What has anybody done about the former minister of an attorney general of justice and all the shenanigans that happened under his watch? What has anybody done about all of those things? And these are what has anybody done about the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs? That was a more or less, where money was spent, Nigerian money was spent recklessly. So we are not taking care of all of these things, and we are going out now, capping out to go and borrow for more funds. The people that are giving us money, they are not stupid, though. They will just be seeing us that these people are not serious-minded, because we are not providing the leadership. I mean, they said everything falls and rises on leadership. Now, the leaders in Nigeria, political leaders especially, they are not ready to make any sacrifice. Yet, they continue to hype to tell Nigerians that they should continue to tighten their belt. The absolute truth of the matter is that there is no more belt hole in the belt of Nigerians.
Interesting one there. You too can join the conversation this morning. The studio lines are open this morning. You can join the conversation. It's 07047 007999. 07047 007999. That's the number to call to join the program this morning. We want to hear from you. You can also drop your comment on Facebook this morning at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM is there and on Facebook. You can watch us live and drop your comments this morning on Facebook. We want to hear from you and we want to hear your thoughts and opinions as regards to what we are discussing. We are discussing China and Nigeria relationship. Why did the president travel to China? Saying to invite direct foreign investors and for mutual cooperation. And then they've signed some MOUs. And then probably when the time comes, like just like Mr. Taiwo Ismail said earlier, when they come back and they start telling us some of the key things they went to do, maybe it's not just about borrowing loans alone. Maybe they have some other things they went to China to do at this point in time. But then, Mr. Taiwo Ismail, let me come back to you. As regards the president's visit, you said probably when they come back, they'll probably explain more as regards the issue of loans and likes that they've gotten from China. And many Nigerians are saying, just like you've noted earlier, we've been getting loans from these people and we've been doing a lot of things. And then they are saying our leaders not seeing all of this. Are they not seeing the dangers, so to speak, that are embedded in some of these MOUs that they are signing? Probably this is kind of neo-colonialism. Is China trying to colonize Nigeria again, or China trying to colonize Africa again? You know, we've had so many conspiracy theorists coming around and saying that China, like you said, China is trying to build a world power. As a matter of fact, they are very strong as you speak in the universe now. But then many are saying this not more or less like neo-colonialism. China is coming with full force to Africa. What's your take on this?
You know, when people say neo-colonialism, I will ask, are we not colonizing ourselves domestically? So a situation whereby the EFCC agency that is saddled with fighting corruption will be going for selective fight. So just in recent time, we heard of how Yaya Bello, you know, the amount of money that was siphoned up to this moment. Have you seen anything? So you know, it's the question of neo-colonialism from, so to say, from the outside world. It's not a question that we need to be answering at this moment in time. We need to take a look at how we are also colonizing ourselves. You know, virtually every human being is selfish. You know, China, we want to do whatever that will favor them. Yes, fine. So also other countries like United States, UK, and Russia and the likes. But we ourselves, we need to take a look at how we are also underdeveloping our countries. So what are the things that we are doing that is making our country to be subservient to those countries that we are talking about? We have wisdom. God blesses us with resources, both human and natural resources. But we are not taking a look at how we can harness those resources for the betterment of the citizenry. So we will now be talking of neo-colonialism. Yes, China may have the intention of colonizing the Africa, but they are not forcing us. We go there to seek for loans. We go there to seek for so many things. It is our psyche that we need to take a look. Like Prof said, that we need national orientation. When China was developing, Jama Mao said that, definitely all our citizens, we need to reorientate ourselves and then take a look at how we are going to develop ourselves by ourselves domestically. But here you see our leader John Kenton all around. Today Russia, tomorrow China, next tomorrow France. What are they looking for? We have a lot of even some of these countries. If you get to understand that we are blessed with a lot of resources, better than those countries that they go to. But they utilize the little resources that they have for their betterment. But here we siphon our funds. You know, we spend our money on something that is not meaningful to our development. So I don't agree with the fact that some countries are neo-colonizing us, but I will say that we are also neo-colonizing ourselves in some of the things that we do on a daily basis. Our judicial system, is it strengthened? No. Look at some of the economic policies that this government has rolled out. What has been the effect? You get to understand that some people are even benefit. In recent time, we heard of how Kabas, strangulated Dangote, and he cried on national TV.
Okay.
So what are those people? You ask questions. Are we not neo-colonizing ourselves domestically? Rather than saying that some countries are neo-colonizing our. So that has been the major issues that I've been having with people saying China is neo-colonizing you. But I will say, are they forcing you? No. The question is no. We go there. We seek for loan. We make ourselves to be subservient to their authority. So it's not the question.
All right, Professor Wole Akiyemi, are you going to be sharing from Mr. Taiwo Ismail's perspective on the issue of neocolonialism? Many are saying, are we not supposed to be careful at this time as regards the issue of China coming to fully to Africa to take over our resources in Africa? What's your take on this?
The role education plays in the emancipation of man is a very, very important role. If you look at the colonial history of Nigeria, you will find out that when they were fighting for the independence of Nigeria, majority of the prominent people that fought the British to the standstill, they were Southerners. I dare say majority of them were even from the southwest part of the country. But when power was to be transferred to the nation, the Britons felt that it is better to repose power in people that they can easily manipulate. So they repose power in the north. And that genesis, that foundation, is part of the problem we are still contending with almost 70 years after. The truth of the matter is that if you don't develop the mind of people, they will go into captivity. The scripture makes it very, very clear. My people are gone into captivity for lack of knowledge. And let me just say very, very quickly that the kind of knowledge I'm talking about is not only confined to the classroom. You see, how many years do you spend in classrooms? They say 6, 3, 3, 4. If you add everything together, what is that in the lifetime of a man? But the important thing is that quality education will build the mind for you to be able to think constructively. The truth of the matter is that if we are to use the Pareto principle of 80-20 in Nigeria, you find out that we have more of the 80 that are creating the problems for the 20. Whereas in any nation that is going to grow, the 20% should be like the engine room of the train to pull the ineffective 80. Forward. And until Nigeria is able to develop to that level, we will not. So majority of the people that even say that they find themselves in leadership position right now, they do not have what it takes to be leaders in the first place. And that is why you cannot deliver, you cannot give what you don't have. So that is why we are saying that this problem is a problem of national orientation, a problem of thinking constructively and thinking right. Well, okay. When the colonialists left and the military took over, who are the people that are actually ruling Nigeria, even in uniform? The Northerners. Absolutely. How many LDF states did you have that are from this other part of the country? And whether we like it or not, now we're claiming that we are running a federal system of government, but indeed what we are running is a unitary system of government. And that's why the president of Nigeria is so powerful today that all the check and balances that one would expect is not there. Ordinarily, why should one person have such the temerity or the power to just come out, or the day is being sworn in to say subsidy has been removed with presidential fiat, and it remains up to today. And we say we have National Assembly, all these people that are riding all the expensive jeeps and the rest of it, and they have not made any useful contribution to that. Are they really serving Nigeria or serving themselves? So the problem we have, if we want to break it down, is human based. And until we solve that human based problem, you are not going anywhere. Before I go, I stumbled on a document. I think it's in Zamfara State or something, or one of these northern states. A governor was signing a memorandum of understanding with bandits. And they were paying them as much as 200 million, 100 million, and everything was listed there. And we said we have leaders in this country. Now, is that a way of dissuading banditry or encouraging banditry? If they are paying that kind of money to them, is that not a way of encouraging them that they should remain in that business? It does not show you that some people in government are even the ones encouraging that banditry. Look at the amount of money that Nigeria is spending on security. Money going down the drain.
Interesting one there. All right, you can join the conversation. Like I said earlier, the studio line is still open. 07047007999. 07047007999. You can also drop your comments on Facebook this morning at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM is the handle on Facebook this morning. You can go there and drop your comments as regards some of the things we've been discussing on the show this morning. But then before we pick calls or anything, let's go on a short commercial break at this time. And when we come back, we'll talk more and we'll probably delve into another topic. And when we come back, and then we share insights as regards all of this. Do not go anywhere. This is still Discourse on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. We'll be back after this short time out.
The voice of integrity, Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, made with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Break time is crunch time. So give your chance this delicious crunchy delight to keep them winning all day. Milo and a snack of future champions. Milo!
Hello?
Hello there. I'm at the hospital right now because the kills are seriously ill. I've been on a long queue and the doctor is here to attend to me. I don't know what to do again.
You know what? How about the numbers I gave you while leaving?
Oh, the e-Dokita numbers?
Yes.
Call them right away. They will attend to you immediately.
Hello?
Darling, just like magic. Junior is playing. Even Princess is eating like an adult.
You know I've told you to calm down. Our family is covered with e-Dokita Premium Plan. With eDokita, you have access to healthcare at your fingertips. Stop wasting your productive hours while waiting in the clinic for doctor. Subscribe today to any of eDokita plans and enjoy online chat and call consult, laser therapy, medical outreach, and home care services. Simply dial 0704-714-2000 or 0701-000-8670. Log on to www.edokita.com or visit us at eDokita, number 2 Ocean Street, New Bodija, Ibadan. eDokita, inspiring wellness.
Bàbá tẹ̀lẹ́ni tó mọ̀nà wọ̀kúwọ́kú nìrìn àjò ayé ẹni rọ̀ ní lọ́rùn. ní Edu Consult ẹ̀kọ́ advanced level Cambridge JUPEB àti IJMB tó fi mọ́ NAPTEP ó ti wá rọrùn gbà torí pé pẹ̀lú ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ lọ́mọ fi ń wọlé sí 200 level ní yunifásitì ẹ̀yà máa fọ̀rọ̀ játa àmọ́ ẹ kàn sí Edu Consult báyìí ní Communication House Fast Junction ní Gbági Old Ife Road Ìbàdàn tó fi mọ́ Ashi Annex tó wà ní LOARM Court Ashi Bodija Junction Báṣọ̀run Ìbàdàn àbí kíni ká ti gbọ́ kọ́mọ gba 300 nínú UTME tàbí 90 nínú post UTME ká ti wá wọlé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga ó sì dógún ọ̀nà àbáyọ rèé o wá gba fọ́ọ̀mù Cambridge IJMB tàbí JUPEB tó fi mọ́ NAPTEP and be prepared for the examinations between 7 and 10 months at Edu Consult. Edu Consult also provides opportunity for candidates on ICT program for examinations like TOEFL, SAT, O-Level, GCE, UTME, Post UTME and others. Àyè lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ náà sì wà pẹ̀lú fún àlàyé ẹ pè 0813-543-0382. Edu Consult. Together we soar with pride.
Fresh news, best talk, hot music, where else?
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
All right, you're welcome back. This is still the discourse right here on Omoluwabi. It is 7.7 FM. We've spoken about the issue that the Nigeria visits, Nigerian government visit to China and the Nigeria-China relationship earlier. And then we have asked you to join the conversation, drop your comments on Facebook. When the time comes, we read your comments and then also call us on we had the studio line this morning, 07047 007999, 07047 007999. That's the line to call to be a part of the program this morning. Very quickly, we'll be talking about something very germane to Nigerians. At this time, Nigerians have been shouting, they've been crying, and they've been saying things are hard, things are very difficult. Existence is difficult for Nigerians at this time because we need Nigerians can't buy petrol. Petrol pump price has risen drastically, and many Nigerians are saying, are we supposed to be in this kind of situation as an oil producing nation, or is that increment supposed to come just like that, just like the way it came? Many are saying, what is the real problem there? Is it not we just on the day that Dangote refinery announced the production of production and distribution of petrol to the Nigerian markets, the exact day was the day that petrol prices are to go up. A lot of questions being asked by Nigerians at this point in time, and then we are going to be talking more about this. But then before we go delve into the conversation right here in the studio, let us listen to someone. He's an economist too. His name is Professor Pat Utomi. He has something to say on the issue of fuel crisis in Nigeria. Talked about the NNPC too, and he said a lot of things, and then probably he also gave some his own insights as regards to the current problem in the country. Let's take a good listen to Pat Utomi.
Is more complex than seeing or not seeing coming. Clearly, when you get into the kind of situation that we have gotten into, you need a lot of planning to engage. And because we didn't do all the necessary planning and put the appropriate measures in place, because we didn't clarify our strategy, we are running into very, very serious problems. See, first and foremost, I think that the typecasting of what is subsidy has put us in a bind. I probably would have begun by trying to clear up the mess in the industry, in NNPC. Believe me, NNPC is one of the most opaque and most unreliable organizations in the world. Quote me any day. I've been writing and talking about this for a whole generation. I still remember my 1998 book and the quote on NNPC from it. What we call subsidy, a good part of it was obviously graft. What we call smuggling. I mean, if you look at the way the numbers oscillate, how much we consume, look at what we consumed just before COVID. And then when movement dropped under COVID, the numbers just multiplied significantly. It will tell anybody who is serious that it is not because more petrol was consumed. There are statistics. Compare Pakistan, California, I've done that before, Nigeria. California, where almost everybody has a car, in terms of ratio of citizen to petrol consumed. And Nigeria, where few people have cars, forget about how many cars are jammed in the streets of Lagos, but very few of our population have cars. And look at the number of units of petrol that we say are consumed there. So we want to begin first by, before we punish citizens and pass on inefficiencies to them in prices, clear out the corruption in the system. That alone, I think, will bring the thing down dramatically.
All right, that was Professor Pat Utomi there speaking on the issue of the crisis we have in the oil industry there. Professor Wole Akinyemi, Pat Utomi mentioned a lot of things talking about why not let us clear the problem at hand first before we start rubbing the problem on, before we start rubbing the problems on the faces of Nigerians, before we start pushing Nigerians that are faced by the war, push them more to the war. What's your take on this, Professor?
compromise is the enemy of achievement in everything. It's like I was reading the mind of Professor Patutomi, because I've used the expression subsidizing corruption. That is exactly what we are doing here. And if you summarize his submission, it's just backed up my submission also, that Nigeria is being busy subsidizing corruption. And instead of dealing with all of these things where Nigeria is hemorrhaging very, very seriously, we would rather not touch it, but pass on irresponsibly the problem to hapless Nigerians. That kind of strategy is not sustainable. That kind of strategy cannot build a virile nation. Because let us look at it now. What Nigerian government has succeeded in doing is to continue to create a culture of poverty. And wherever you have culture of poverty, you will have crime. Go and check all the government in South America. That is the problem. Because they have a culture of poverty there, the rate of crime is higher in those places. People will do prostitution. People will do woman trafficking. People will do rituals. They will do all sorts of despicable things in a way in order to be able to. I'm not justifying these things, but it's just the nature of human being. When they are forced to the war, they have to look for other ways in which they will survive. And let me tell you, anytime we say that Nigerians are very, very resilient, I've always said it, that this resilience is an euphemism for corruption. Because let us honestly tell ourselves today, they said 70,000 naira is the minimum wage. If you are living in a place like Ologunero and you are coming to attend to the secretariat for work, I can assure you that you cannot spend less than 50,000 naira on transportation alone. So how do you want to manage your family with the remaining 20,000, if not because of corruption? So corruption has become what Professor Utomi called graft. It has become so endemic. It's institutionalized in every aspect, every facet of our life, including religion, sadly. And that's why I've been saying it, that what we need more than any other thing is national orientation. But how can you orientate a nation that its leadership is not ready to submit to orientation? They themselves are not giving the right example. NNPC presently constituted is a cesspool of corruption. Their account is not audited. They thought they were doing some repositioning, they just changed the logo. When you change the logo, does that change the people that are in the organization? Right now, we don't know exactly how much crude Nigeria is producing, how much is being stolen, how much is given away. We don't know the justification for the people that they allocate oil wells to. We don't know. And the same thing is happening in every sector. Let me tell you, we are just talking about oil because oil is the one that drives every other aspect of our economy. It's the same thing that is affecting our energy, power. The same thing. Maybe you heard that Ibadan IBC was about to be sold
to another
distributor. A former head of state of Nigeria owns that company.
Interesting one there. Mr. Taiwo Ismail, let's take your thought as regards Professor Patutomi, thoughts on the current national issue, the issue of petrol scarcity and petrol price hike. He's saying, why not just let us resolve the whole problem first before we start throwing our problems as governments at Nigerians. Nigerians are suffering a lot, and they're saying if you think we are the only ones battling with this kind of situation, that means we are probably wrong, because we're not we're not being truthful to ourselves. Because I said, let's sit down and let's strategically deal with NNPC. Will you buy in that idea too?
Maybe last maybe 3 months ago, I wrote an article on Nigerian Tribune. The article reads thus: forest floating, deregulation and agony of the masses. What I said in the article was the fact that the current problem that we are facing is as a result of inefficiency in the policies made by the present administration. What is NNPC? You see, it is when people are trying to shift their responsibility to other people. That is when they will want to look at the surface. The NNPC is being, currently, you will understand the fact that the Minister of Petroleum is still President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So the buck stop in his table. Whatever that happens to NNPC, he is culpable for that. Oftentimes, we have discovered that NNPC has been a cesspool, like the professor has said. And what is causing that? It's still a systemic problem. When we have leadership problem, when we have a leader that doesn't look at how to make sure that things are put in a proper way, the bottom will be rotting. That has been the problem that we have been facing. And let me go back to the article I wrote. I said forest floating, the regulation, those are the two major mistakes that the present administration made. And that's why we have found ourselves where we are. In a serious economy, you don't float your forex and at the same time removing your subsidy when you don't have enough reserve. That is the bottom line. What is facing the currently now is as a result of fluctuation in the forex. The scarcity, the increase in the price is the major reason is the fluctuation in the forex. If that can be solved, believe me, 50% of our problem as regards our petroleum issue will be solved.
So are you saying we should go back to the old ways?
Yes, you don't float your forex. Now you floated your forex. You don't have the enough reserve to shock it.
But the IMF and the World Bank are happy at this point.
That is part of the conditional. Back to what I said. Part of the conditionalities that they sign, they will go and meet those people seeking for loan. Don't forget the fact that seeking loans, when they seek for loan, they will sign some things. And when they sign those things, the IMF will say, oh, before you get this loan, these are the things that you must do.
And part of the things you must do at this time is
remove your subsidy, you must float your forex, and who receive whatever they say, because they say he who pays the piper dictate the tunes. You understand? So part of the conditionalities that they sign, that's what we are facing now. Because you agree with me that the current administration is still APC. Buhari, when he was there, he ruled under APC regime. But this present government is like they are trying to cover the mess of the past administration, because Buhari did a lot of shady. Where we are now, as a result of maladministration from his own hand. But they are in the same government. They don't want to open their hands in the public. So that's why we are where we are currently now.
Now the masses are the ones at the receiving end.
Yes, we are the receiving end. We are bearing the brunt. So if forex can be solved, the problem in the forex can be solved. Believe me, you agree with me that the prices of the crude oil, the prices of the PMS, diesel and the like, they will adjust instantly.
All right, Professor Wole Akinyemi, are you going to buy from that idea too? That we should go back to our old ways.
I agree absolutely with what Mr. Ishmael's submission. The absolute truth of the matter is that my introductory statement this morning was that we have been teleguided by the Bretton Woods institutions. I mentioned the IMF, I mentioned the World Bank, and I told you that government is trying to satisfy them more than satisfying Nigerians, and that this kind of strategy is not sustainable. For as long as they continue with it, it's like throwing water in the basket. I mean, maybe they have people, even people in government, they have people around them now. Don't they go to their constituency? Let me tell you the reality today. There is nobody that can call himself a rich man today. Just scratch the surface of the skin. There is poverty underneath. And that is why there is so much corruption in the system, because somebody is not stealing just for himself. He wants to steal for the second and third generation. So it's such a very, very pathetic situation. So because you say you're a rich man, you are living in an oasis in the desert of want. How is that sustainable? Even some of the big cars that some of them are talking about now, are they not ashamed that they are queuing with those cars in filling stations, empty filling stations? Is it not laughable?
Interesting one there. So that expired, Dangote Refinery came on board, and then people are happy that Dangote Refinery will start selling PMS to Nigerians, and then it will be cheap. But then it seems it's not going to be cheap at this time. How is it going to impact the Nigerian economy?
Before I answer that question, let me take it from where Professor said that some of these big cars, they are keen on the filling. When I was coming, NNPC, as I was coming from Market, no filling station opened. It was only NNPC that opened. If you see the queue, in fact, you will be sorry for yourself. In fact, at the time, I was even thinking myself that, won't I stop here and also buy fuel? But, the time was not on my side. So it has taken to that extent that, we are currently in a state of, let me say, our economy is in a coma currently. So the Dangote refinery, incidentally, I have my degree in energy, master's degree in energy economics, and I was opportune to visit the Dangote refinery in the tail end of my master's degree. And what we saw was that Nigeria is not ready to get out of this quagmire. Why? You ask me. We have 4 refineries that are not working currently, and you are putting the live wire of our economy in one private investor. So definitely is an investor, and he looks at ROI, return on investment.
Absolutely.
So whatever you give him, it's not a Father Christmas that will be saying, oh, because Nigerians are crying, let me now reduce the cost of fuel.
As a matter of fact, he came on board and said, if Nigeria is not buying from him, you sell to outside countries, other countries outside Nigeria.
Yeah, because it's an investor. Every investor looks at the profit. They look at the return of their investment. You believe me that Dangote invested heavily in the sector. $20 billion is not a small amount of money that you can joke with. So at the time, he was crying heavily on the national TV that there were some cabals that didn't want the refinery to work. Now, currently, the landing cost of fuel is about 1,200 naira. The 895 naira that NNPC pegged is as a result of reduction in the subsidy. They reduced the amount of money they were pushing for.
Interesting one there. We need to go. My studio manager is already waving at me. All right, it's just the conversation could continue on and on and on and on, because there are a lot of things to talk about. Definitely, as regards so many problems facing us as a nation. But then we need to go this morning. Professor Wole Akinyemi, your parting shot this morning.
Government is not transparent. I said it 2 weeks ago that where we are going is 1,000 naira per liter. We have not gotten there. All of this shenanigan that you are seeing is geared towards that objective. And the moment that objective is achieved, go and write it down. Miye Kyari will be asked to go.
All right, interesting one there. Mr. Taiwo Ismail, please, your parting shot very quickly. Yeah,
what I just want to say, I want to advise Nigerian government. And my advice is that they need to look at some of the things that they have done. You might have made a policy that is having adverse effect on the people. There is a need for you to go back to the drawing board. What I can do to ameliorate the sufferings that people are facing currently. Over there, things are not in a good shape. People are lamenting seriously. You look at the inflationary trend; it's about 34%. No nation, believe me. If this thing, half of what is happening in Nigeria is happening in the Arabian countries or European countries, everything will have scattered. But believe that Nigerians we adapt to situation easily. So I want to advise on a general note that Nigerian government should listen to the cries of Nigerian people and take a look at